This episode of Mastering Modern Midlife is brought to you by Easy Spirit. Now, more than ever, we know life is about more than just shoes. Being comfortable in your own skin and making life easier is what matters most. Welcome to Mastering Modern Midlife. I'm Catherine Grace O'Connell, and this show is powered by the Forever Fierce Revolution. I'm delighted to introduce my guest today. Danielle LaPorte is an incredible member of Oprah's Super Soul 100. She is also the author of The Desire Map and the Firestarter Sessions. She was also named one of the top 100 websites by Forbes. Amazing. And she has lots more goodies to share with us today. So welcome to the show, Danielle. It's so lovely to see you again.
Good morning.
Last time I saw you in LA, I believe you were wrapping up your White Hot Truth tour here at Agape. And I had the pleasure of being able to cover that last leg. And I remember you getting up on stage and you were so lovely. You go, I'm not exhausted, but I do want to go home and I want to take a hot bath and I want some soup.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd say. Yeah, it's true. Not exhausted, but ready for a hot bath. Yeah.
It was wonderful. I think you had everybody just, eating out of your hands because you were so lovely. Every leg of the tour, you would open it differently. And this, obviously, you were in LA and you're in Agape and you're like, everybody here, like, raise your hand if you've been to a shaman, raise your hand if you've been to a mystic, raise your hand if you've got astrology, like crystals in your bra. It was really delightful. So, and now how long ago was that? Goodness, you were wrapping up the tour. That had to have been a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, it was almost 3 years ago now. Yeah.
Almost 2 years. So tell us, what has happened in those 2 years?
Well, it's almost 3 years. What's happened? My focus right now is, I'm really interested in a heart-centered approach to living. So it's really like everything that I've been learning and resisting and struggling with and blessed by, and there's been a lot of grace. For me now, it's all heart. I'm interested in conversations that are about what happens after we set healthy boundaries. We need to be setting healthy boundaries, yes, but it's really in service to becoming more heart-centered and more fluid with the love that we have to give. I'm very interested in how I can work climate restoration into everything that I'm doing. And while I do that, putting out a measured call to my peers to be doing the same. It's getting a little late in the day of the climate to not be showing up with that concern in everything, in our very well curated feeds and our books and all of our offerings. I am interested in the relationship between faith and doubt. Yeah, that's what's happened in the last 2
It's a lot. And what I'm hearing from you and watching and witnessing your transformation, your progression as a modern midlife woman, as I call this time in our life, we've never hit midlife. It's such a time of, high level of consciousness and, this sort of awakening on the planet, this new dance that we're doing, with our soul and learning different parts of ourselves. So our audience are women, generally midlife and beyond, all over the world. How has midlife changed you? Or what is your relationship with yourself that is different at midlife than it was before?
I do think more about death, for sure. I think about my mortality. I don't think in terms of legacy. I think my observation has been the whole conversation around age and legacy is a very male-centric perspective. Women mostly are just like, I'm here and I just want to love and make a difference while I'm here. Men want to have an impact in a lasting, honorable way, and that's cool. There's room for both, but I don't think about what I'm going to leave behind. I've always felt a sense of urgency. The sense of urgency isn't going away. eventually you're going to have to work on healing your woundedness that's come from family of origin stuff and, you know, anything pre-adult and anything really pre this lifetime. And for a lot of us, that time is about now because our gimmicks aren't working, our systems aren't working anymore. And if you want to live and if you want to make a contribution and you want to be, you know, sexually fulfilled and live in a state of abundance and be really showing up for the planet, you're going to have to deal with those things. So I've dealt with those head on.
You use the language of truth bombs. I love truth bombs. I think of that as aha moments on steroids. You know, these just, you know, these awarenesses that come to us, and we can't lie to ourselves anymore. And when I say midlife, I always say midlife isn't an age, it's an experience. And I call it a really powerful time. It's like the time when the phoenix rises. And I feel like the authentic self rises, and we can't live this life where we're living in authenticity, lying to ourselves any longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's like the time is up. The time is now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
Give me 3 of the top truth bombs that you have been hit with.
3 of the top truth bombs. Go deeper and stay there. Like it's really about meaning and purposefulness. And when that's your focus, it's less about, you move out of the game of comparison and competition. You definitely move away from materialism. Another truth bomb. Oh, just gentle. I would say that my gentleness is a fruit of my spiritual labor at this point. And I see, you know, so there's been like a profound softening in myself, but I'm more, fierce is, I know, part of your offering. And at the same time, stronger and fiercer than ever. I mean, it's just this beautiful paradox of like, I am more flexible, more open, more unbounded, and more unmovable than I have ever been. I stand where I stand. You asked for 3 truth bombs. The third one would be, love. That's always been one of my favorites.
Love. You can't go wrong with that.
I worship love. I want to be love. I know that I am love. I want to give it and receive it. I think it's the answer to everything that we're longing for. And I think it's the answer to climate change. You know, it's the basis of morality and ethics and inclusivity, and that's that.
You talk a lot about the importance of self-agency. So tell us, what is self-agency and why is it so important for us to be agents of ourselves?
Well, if you're not going to direct the course of your own life, somebody else is going to direct it for you. And it probably will not be in alignment with your soul and fulfillment and happiness and where you want your body to be and all of it. You know, there's so much in this space, in our space of personal development. There's always this very active conversation around manifestation and how to get what you want and visioning and all of that. And that's beautiful. It's cool. We're creators. But it's amazing that still there's so many of us where our self-agency is absent from that. We're still looking to outside forces to help us create, manifest, and pull in the energy and make that happen. And, you know, and really it has to come from you if it's going to be fulfilling, if it's going to be nourishing and sustaining in any way. And just to say a little more about manifestation, I mean, the process, the science of manifestation is just that. It's a science. Anybody can do it. You show up with a vision, you feed that vision with your attention on a regular basis, you're probably going to realize that. You don't need to feel worthy. You actually don't need to be drawing on yourself. You can be sucking on other people's energies and encouragement and all of that. However, if you want to be full, if you want to be lit up, if you really want to know your divine power, you're going to be referring to yourself. And it's uncomfortable. And a lot of us learn that, you know, it all starts and begins with us in the most painful circumstances. And it's the only way. Everything you want Everything you want comes from you referencing yourself, your own intuition, what your body's telling you, and you becoming acutely aware of what's happening in the atmosphere around you. Like, that fits, that doesn't fit, that's neglect, that's injustice, that feels good, that's comforting, that's love, that's gentle. Yeah, it's all you, babe.
See, I think it's beautiful because what you're really talking about, you talk about the accumulation of cumulative wisdom, and that's what comes, with the ages. And I feel like, at midlife, and like I say, midlife to me is an experience. Women hit it at all different points in their life, and that's that pivotal point where it's a shift from without to within, to realizing the power isn't out here, the power is in here. Everything is in here. Our creative force is in here.
You got it.
Our heart.
And here's the divine, twist in that. When you realize at whatever stage you're in that the power is within, you're actually opening yourself up to really receiving the power that's without. Now my prayer, my intention is, I want to be a conduit for love. I'm just like, thy will be done. Use me, because it feels so good to be aligned with the prana, with the divine feminine, with the creative force. It's just like, this is the time to just receive. And this is such an important message for women. And it's not, being receptive is not about being passive or about being submissive to a higher force at all. It's like, life is bubbling with life. Just ride it. It will guide you. It will hold you. It wants to take care of you. It wants to nourish you. It wants you to be vibrant. Just like, the vibrancy is there if you're just like, I'm open. I'm going to be still enough. I'm going to love myself enough to slow down and just receive what's there. And lots of us, I know you know this, just like running too fast to prove things, to keep bandages on the wound of not feeling worthy. That's the vicious cycle.
Yeah, we want to get out of our pain so badly. We want to escape it, but the only way to escape it really is to go through it and feel it. And you're really open about that, about the shadow work, the beauty that's found in the shadow work, the gold that's found through the pain. But when you're on the other side, you can see the blessing, you can see the lesson in that. I remember you in the book, it's very visceral when you're talking about being in the bathtub and going through your divorce and just wanting it to end, wanting that pain to end. So let's talk about that, because, a lot of women in our audience are in that, I don't like midlife crisis. I call it a midlife awakening, but a lot of these women are going through something, be it, a divorce, myself included, empty nester, whatever that transition is in your life, maybe being aged out of your job, a lot of ageism they're facing. So going through, be it a dark night of the soul or just, needing to look at that shadow. Let's talk about that, the shadow, and when you do that work, how fulfilling it really is.
Well, it's way better to do it proactively than it is to have it done to you. So, for anybody who's just like, they know right now, they're listening right now, and they're just like, I am so avoiding getting into that. Just don't, because if you keep avoiding it and you keep using work and, an intense fitness regime and shopping and being a boss lady, if you keep just functioning from that level, which society rewards us for, what I've seen happen, what I know to be true for myself, is life will stop you. Life will really make sure it gets your attention. And it will come in the form of physical illness, or it starts to come, anxiety is really in epidemic proportions for so many women. Lots of high achieving, high functioning women who are suffering severely. Your spirit and your mitochondria are going to say, just stop and pay attention. And you will be incapacitated to an extreme degree. And it's harder to get out of that. It's just a hotter fire. We all get out of it. So anybody who's in it, we all get out. There's another side. That you have to not isolate. There's so many things to do and not do when you're in that hell. But the other side, oh my God, radiance, radiance. And you referred to the phoenix. In the legend of the phoenixes, it's not just that we are reborn from the ashes. The phoenix is stronger and more beautiful with every reincarnation. You get better. You're trading up big time. Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. I found that to be true, and in my community, it's amazing watching these women. The power of that spark internal when that phoenix rises, and then the ripple effect, having an impact on another woman. Because I feel like that phoenix rising is really the waking up. It's the true self, emerging. And every single time we do face the shadow, we dig into the pain, we look at, our wounds to heal them. Once they're healed, and there's so much beauty on the other side. So what was your lesson from your divorce?
My lesson from my divorce, wow. It's been a while. So many lessons. My lesson from my divorce was, it was really about a reclamation of myself, of my sanity. That what I wanted was sane and it was healthy, and I didn't always go about getting it in the most healthy ways. Yeah, that was a big one. And now that I'm so far on the other side, forgiveness was huge. There was a long period of time where I was very bounded against my former husband. I don't like the term ex. And I didn't think I would ever let him near me again, really, just, and I mean that more metaphorically. And I did two things. One, I worked with him on a soul level. So this may sound like spiritual bypassing, but I guarantee you it's very painful, and it's not a bypass at all. So for a period of time, I just prayed and meditated for him, higher self to higher self, and let him back in, deeply appreciated him again, just like poured. I did what I habitually stopped doing, which is just poured love in his direction. And that was like deeply healing for me. And then that shifted things externally a bit, where I just like, you can come in the house. We can we're always very civilized. We're pretty mature people, but I just laid the burden down. It wasn't worth it anymore. But I had to forgive myself for putting myself in situations that weren't honoring to me, and all the shitty things I did to him during that relationship. So demanding. Those demands are legit. It's just wrong time and place.
Yeah. There's a lot of spiritual bypassing out there, but I know the work when you rise above the human self and you do communicate on a soul level, that is anything but a spiritual bypass. That's really the authentic part of each other that you're communicating with, a much higher self that is above all the human struggle.
Yeah, and so to your point, like, you can't skip the human struggle. It was hundreds of hours of therapy and tears and reckoning with the rage and the misalignment, and I did the work. Yeah.
So tell me, you talk a lot about permission, giving yourself permission. That's ultimately, I think, what our journey in life is, right? Learning to give ourselves permission, and probably the ultimate permission is joy. Like, you're on a joy-chasing journey, right? Going from a space where, it's this struggle to then going, what am I doing? And I'm doing it to myself. I'm keeping joy from myself. I'm keeping happiness from myself. I'm staying in this inner struggle. And now, you said, I want to be a conduit of light, which we all are, really. We come in that way and we start blocking it. But let's talk about that, being in a space of light, chasing joy, choosing joy, making that shift internally and giving ourselves permission for joy.
Well, it's been a big conversation for me for years, like every rabbi I'd met, every spiritual counselor, every priest, I just like, what's our true nature? I think it's joy. What do you think it is? And sometimes the answer would be it's joy. And other times, like some of the Zen Buddhists are just like, and my awareness now is that joy is what happens when I'm facing my soul, when I'm like aligned. And so I'm aware. So let me break it down. If it's true that your soul is light and love, and it's just impeccable magnificence. You are the beloved. Let's just anchor in. Well, let's all buy into that right now for this moment. Then if you are aware of that, how can you not be joyful? So joy is what happens when we're facing our soul. So my job, because I want to be joyful, joy is beautiful. Joy feels better than anything else. Joy helps me be more clear, more productive, more loving, more of service, all those things. It's my natural state to be aligned with my soul. Then my job is to keep removing the obstacles and the illusions that I'm anything other than that love and that magnificence, and just keep coming back into alignment and making choices. So there's lots of times I don't feel joyful. There's heaviness, there's anxiety, there's resentment, whatever. What's the choice that's going to move me back to truth? And always, 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 that the apex of that choice is gratitude for anything. You don't have to be grateful for the shitty thing that's happening. In fact, you should probably just suspend that for a minute. And just like some days I'm just like, I'm grateful that I have good teeth. Like, it's just, with the darker it gets for you, just like the more basic sometimes it has to get. And then you're just like, I'm grateful for running water, and then I have a vocabulary, and for the love in my life and all of that. Yeah. And some days I still have to fight for it, and I'm up for it. I'm fighting for the right thing.
Yeah. Fighting the good fight.
Yeah, the good fight.
Yeah. The best fight there is, the fight for joy.
Yeah.
Why Easy Spirit and Mastering Modern Midlife? Because we both believe in age positivity. Midlife is a time for women to design their life on their terms, and Easy Spirit is on a mission. As makers of shoes and experiences that are all about making life easy for all women, especially for you, the modern midlife woman. I move for women at Midlife and Beyond to help you ignite your ultimate potential and purpose. Easy Spirit wants to know, what do you move for?
I have personally been on a spiritual journey for 28 years. You know, obviously 58 years of my life, but 28 years really delving into my inner world to figure out who I am, because I had such an abusive, traumatic childhood. And yes, I almost lost my life a few years ago to Lyme disease. And I think I met you right after that. This is my new life after a near-death experience, coming back and realizing, you know, this is what I'm here for. So there are a lot of illusions on this spiritual path, and one of the biggest illusions, I think, is if you're someone at your level, that you have been on this path a long time, you've written these books, you're teaching, you're, worked with all these, amazing gurus, that you don't go through the shadows anymore. You don't have the dark night of the soul. And that's one thing first of all, I'd love for you to address, and I want to read this post that you posted on Instagram. I believe it was last year.
Okay. Do you want to read the post now?
Sure, I'll read it. Okay, so you say right here, 1 year ago this week, listen, I'm just holding on. You should know that. And that's how I started this photo shoot with my photographer. I was spending many weekends at a small Catholic retreat center, researching the dark night of the soul through St. John of the Cross, St. Teresa Avila. I would pace the labyrinth, lay on the ground in the rain, pray ceaselessly to get out of what I was in, mostly begging. I begged for mercy, to see another side and to have the strength to walk towards it. Closest friends texted to check on me throughout the day. My psychologist was on standby. That was good. Some friends had no idea what I was struggling with. Grief, loss, dissolution, beliefs colliding, ego dismantling, relationship burning, nothing to negotiate with, just done, choiceless. 2, choiceful. 1 step, next step, another, a small miracle, the opening, new thoughts, new way, emerging, emergence, emerged, all within the golden net of relationships. It's not about what a difference a year makes, though the transformation in 12 months is profound. It's about the light-generated beauty you find when you finally get down on your knees and you look into your shadow. Wherever you are on your path, keep going. You will be amazed. Let me say that again. You will be amazed. Mm-hmm. That was so, this was jaw-dropping to me. Just so the beauty in this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all true. So I'm a recovering workaholic.
Yeah.
And it's like not a term that I use lightly. And so what I've done most of my life is perform at a high level, and just basically be in work mode all the time. So I didn't have to feel anything that was under the surface of that, which is similar for a lot of us in terms of just like, it's just basic lack of worth, self-worth stuff that society just feeds on and contributes to. And I wouldn't say I had a nervous breakdown because I was very much in touch with reality. Yeah. But I had never been to such a dark place. I've really never, I will do whatever it takes to not go back there. And there's things I've been through before, divorce and miscarriage and other breakups. No, didn't compare. This was the worst. And I didn't recognize myself. It was the best thing. I'm someone who, I love my solitude, super independent, and I couldn't be left alone. I'd call friends and say, can I come and work in your studio? I'll just sit in the corner, just don't want to be alone today. I had no context for anxiety ever. I didn't understand what's an anxiety. And my psychologist was like, you're having panic attacks. I was like, what? That's what that is? And that's hell. It's hell. There's nothing. One of the 9,000 amazing things that came out of this was extensive, deep compassion for people who deal with anxiety. And listen, I understand the hell, and there's another way of living. You do not have to live like this. Do not let anxiety be your new normal. And you can transform that pain. Not only can you heal from it, but you can actually transform that pain into power. I have built new neural pathways in my brain. So anxiousness and despair and my terror of what's going on the planet and shame and all of that, it's not in the center of me anymore. It's on the fringe. And the more I expand from the center of me with that strength and that clarity and a vigilance of thought, vigilance with my thinking, what I am choosing to feed my mind, that goes down to my heart, I just become more radiant. And all that stuff at the edge gets transformed, moves farther out, more transformation, moves farther out. And have you seen any of the interviews that Demi Moore has done right now around her new book?
I've seen some. I'm aware of it. Talk about vulnerability, the ultimate in vulnerability.
Yeah. Such an important conversation. Yeah. And I watched the interview with her and Diane Sawyer. I haven't read the book yet. And I thought the most important part was she said that, everybody just looking, through the lens of celebrity culture, she's claiming that her ex-husband, Ashton Kutcher, was unfaithful. That's not the point. Yeah. She sets that aside and says, it actually, all the devastation that was the result of that marriage actually had nothing to do with him. That it was about not having healed her wounded little girl self. That is a profound revelation that everybody needs to hear. So the stuff that's traumatizing you in adult time is just triggers for you to pay attention to the trauma before. And it can so be done. It can so be done. And I think the more we talk about it, the more I talk about that, the saner I feel and the more useful I feel. But we're healing each other through our stories because, how many women are listening to this right now going, it's me. I was there, or I'm headed there, or I'm there now. And then we stand up and say, there's another side, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. And I've watched some of her interviews, and I know she was talking about how it's changed the relationship with everything. But the relationship with herself, the relationship with her children now is vastly different, and really going through looking at herself and how she got to where she was and how she got out of it to this person who she is today, who's able to talk about it and talk about some things that are really painful and challenging. And I remember even seeing the other day, I think it was on social media, it was Ashton Kutcher. He had said something like, she had posted something about the book, something about him, and he was about to comment back in a really snippy way. And he stopped himself in that moment. He said, no, this is about her. This is about her. Let her have her, her voice. She needs to talk about her story her own way, and it's not about me at all. So it's really brilliant to watch that sort of, both of them becoming so conscious about themselves, because in the end, it's always about ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me now, what are you working on today? You've got, obviously, your Desire Map journal. Is that one of the things? And commune courses?
Well, a big part of this, like this season for me, always towards the end of the year, is about the Desire Map Planner. Mm-hmm. I really feel like fall is the new year.
Yeah.
And I'm about to lock myself into a hotel room because we're launching a membership program in January, and I'm giving it all I got. Every tool, every practice, every ritual, every ceremony, every purification thing, I'm pacing it out over a year-long program. So that'll launch in January. And I'm about to write a new book. Yeah. So much significantly less travel next year. And I think I'm going to make a lot of soup. It's a big deal.
I think you said your last book was like birthing a baby. I think it took you 9 months, literally, the time it took you to birth a baby. So, and the commune courses, that's something that's popped up. I get it in my inbox. I signed up for your course. I think I'm signed up for the one now, the Iceman or whatever. But I think it's really a brilliant concept.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, the relationship with commune is we got together to co-produce an online program for the Desire Map. And it's really beautiful. And then we did an online course for Free and Clear. So Free and Clear is about a more soulful year in review process, where you're not just looking at what happened over the last 12 months, so you can plan a better new year, but you're looking at how you felt about what happened and what you learned. So I'm teaching you how to extract your wisdom from the last 12 months. So you get these little chiropractic adjustments for planning what you want to have happen. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and commune's just, we're family now. It's beautiful working with them to make good things together.
It's fun. It's fun seeing, because I get to see some people who I don't know. I'm meeting some new faces on there. It's been a lovely experience. So tell me, Oprah. Let's talk Oprah. You are one of Oprah's super souls here. What was that like?
Well, it's pretty cool to get the email, from the Oprah team. So I got that, and I got invited. I was told I was invited. First of all, I didn't really take it seriously, and then I was like, whatever. And then they got in touch with me a few days later, and they're like, no, really, this is real. I was like, oh, okay. I understand what's happening now. And then I went downstairs into the kitchen and told my kid, I've just been invited by Oprah Winfrey to be part of this Super Soul thing. And he was like, well, the toilet's clogged. Could you do something about that? And we're back. We're back to reality. It's not that glamorous.
I'm not going to be carried away with myself for very long here.
Yeah. But total honor. She is, my interaction with her, she's lovely and warm and sincere. And, Ms. Winfrey is moving in the right direction.
Yeah. She is definitely moving in the right direction. The direction of consciousness. I think we are going through, a massive awakening on the planet right now. We've got amazing teachers, both, probably our dark teachers are teaching us more than anything right now to push us into the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been a wild experience. So it has been absolutely lovely reconnecting with you, and I hope I get the opportunity on your next book tour. Do you have a name for the book yet, or are you birthing the book yet and then it comes?
Well,
do we have a direction?
It's the new Desire Map. We're just about to survey 50,000 Desire Mappers, and I'm working in all the science that's come to the foreground on the relationship between heart frequency and the brain. It's a whole new level. And I really want to get that done because I've got another book, which I think is tentatively called The Things I Do When I'm in Pain. And that will require a few weekends in a hotel room too.
That doesn't sound all bad. So tell me, leave us with, what are 3 action steps the women in our audience can take today? You talk a lot about, the Desire Map and creating our, best future self. So where they are today versus where they want to be, what are 3 action steps they can take in their own life based on your work?
These are going to sound so out there. Get yourself a functional MD and get your blood work done and see what's going on in terms of viruses and hormone levels. Because until you get that sorted out, until you get your vessel healed up, everything else is going to be much more difficult. So start with the body and underscore functional MD. So someone's taking a holistic approach to healing, and they're going to tell you to get some sleep. So that's one thing. The second thing to do is, it sounds so gentle, but it's so profound. Figure out 5 things that would bring you joy or just light pleasure every day. Yeah. And they can be small things. These don't need to be big, epic things. Just like, I would feel so good to text so-and-so. I'd feel so good to just sit on the sofa for 5 minutes when I come home today. Whatever it is, just 5 things. And those things, I mean, just declaring those things, you're sending a signal to your nervous system that you are paying attention, that you are caring for yourself. You will start to calm. And then actually making good on those things, that's love, that's wellness, that's healing, that's power. And the third thing, well, this is a bit soapboxy of me, but I'm going to throw it in there. Because this is why it works. Why it works is because to give is to receive. It's a universal law. But here's where I get a little preachy about this. We need to start expanding our perspective on manifesting, like we were talking about at the top of the hour. So please, would everybody consider that when you're thinking through what it is that you want to create in your life, the wellness, the prosperity, the relationship, whatever it is, that your prayers for that, your intention for that, there's like a semicolon. I am thankful for receiving all this, that I may help others be so blessed.
Yes.
That my joy will contribute to the joy of others. And then maybe we could even take the next step, that, on our vision boards and the visions we have in our heart, that we're actually including other people. So we're not just seeing, a beautiful living space and a dynamic relationship. We're seeing a harmonious neighborhood, and on our vision board are, like lush forests and a happy ecosystem and whatever we're being called to love on, which is so much. So yeah, include other people in your dreams.
We're not an island, we are all connected, right? And the more we want for ourselves and for others, the bigger and better the overall vision is. And there's something else you talk about. You talk about faith, but you talk about faith and taking action. Faith is one thing, but so we're talking about manifesting. Yes, we have to have faith that good things are coming to us, but we also have to get off our butt and go out there in the world and do. We have to be, but we also have to do.
Yeah. And I actually think, this is a great point. I think I need to write about this. I think we're out of balance in terms of most of us are just in the do mode. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to slay it. I mean, I got a whole rant on just that language alone, which I'm just like not down with. But it's like, we're going to do to get it. And we're actually not having that much faith or enough faith, the right degree of faith that we're going to bring to us that which we want to bring to us. Too much action, not enough faith.
Well, we're raised as human doings versus human beings. So I think that's the pivot point at midlife. But then you can also get out of balance the other way. If you enter the new agey world, you can get too much sitting here waiting for these things to come to us. So I think everything is a balance and it's a dance, right?
We can be too much. I'm just going to be in the flow. Yeah. Flow is not passive. It's dynamic.
Exactly. It is dynamic. But yeah, there's that dance and balance of ultimately being is fundamental to everything, but being then taking the action. So wonderful. Oh my God, you're always so filled with wisdom and fun and light and joy. And it's just such a pleasure to reconnect with you every time.
Catherine Grace, thank you for the great questions in the space. Yeah, thank you. And I'm so glad you're well. I mean, I didn't know you when you were unwell, but I mean, you're such an embodiment of healing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had no idea at the time what was awaiting me. I really didn't know why. I had no problem going. I was like, okay, God, I'm good. I up there is really lovely. It's down here that I'm having a problem, and now I get it. I'm like, I understand why I stayed. And, all of us, I do believe, if we get on purpose in life, like you said, it's not just about me. We're all connected, and there's always something we can be doing to help another and help another and help another, but help ourselves at the same time.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I'm so looking forward to next year, the 12-month program I'm in, and your next book. Again, I'm in. Anything you need, I'm here. I'll be shouting you to the rooftops.
Thank you.
Thanks
you so
much
for listening. Yeah.
You bet. Thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful day. And with that, beauties, thank you so much for tuning in. And we're going to put all of Danielle's links in everywhere, so you guys are going to find all of her programs. And stay tuned. And thank you so much for being part of the Forever Fierce Revolution. Let's master modern midlife together. With that, cheers, beauties. Stay fierce.